Deja vu? It may seem like it since we've made the same announcement 3 times in the last 3 months, with this being number 4, but we are lowering our prices again. First, our 30-day all access went from $349 to $299. Next, the 7-day all access pass went from $119 to just $99. And just a few weeks ago, despite our popular 3-day all access pass, it went down to $59 from $69. Next up is the 90-day all access pass, which is now officially dropped down to $749 from being $849, giving you 90 days of selections from your favorite handicapper for under $6 per week. Remember, purchase wager bucks can now be used the same as cash, including on our new lowered price, $3, $7, $30, and 90-day all access packages, allowing you to save every day on every pick you buy.
Good morning, guys. Welcome in right here to WagerTalk TV. You're watching Puck Time. I'm Andrew McInnis. I have Carmine and Bianco with me and Lawrence Presman back in his usual Wednesday spot. Some great games to break down today. A smaller slate, though, however. We'll talk about every game on tap. We got best bets at the end, some great promos, and of course, you can find all three of us on WagerTalk.com. A 4-2 night for me, but for just minimal profit, I believe, plus like 2 units, something like that. Tough night for me with the totals. However, the favorites did come in. I had 2 moneyline parlays, and the Blues, the Lightning, the Penguins, they all end up coming in. And if you follow me on Twitter, guys, I actually tweeted out when the Tampa Bay Lightning were down 3-1 that if the Tampa Bay Lightning made a comeback, that I'd be giving away a Tampa Bay jersey to anybody that liked and retweeted that, as long as they followed my account and the Puck Time account. And we found a winner. Tampa Bay comes back and scores a bunch of goals and wins that game. So if you follow me on Twitter, you follow the Puck Time Twitter account, you have a chance to win a jersey. And I'm happy somebody that follows Puck Time and is actually a client of mine has a brand new Tampa Bay jersey on the way to them right now. But pretty good night last night. Karma, I was happy to hit a prop again last night with Sidney Crosby to score a goal. But some great games tonight. How was your night last night, Carm?
It was good. I won a Tampa Bay jersey last night. I was really thrilled. I hope it arrives soon. But no, it was a good day overall. 3-in-1 day, profitable day in NHL as well too. A little parlay that hit, which was pretty good. Didn't look good at one point, but at the end, it's what matters at the end that counts. Just a little bit of mailbag work, as I like to do at the beginning of the show. I try and get to as many comments, both during the live show and then the comments later after the video is posted. Because you guys post a ton of questions in there and a ton of messages. So I try and get back to everyone. We appreciate all the comments and the views, of course, too. Sometimes sarcasm doesn't come across that great, it doesn't come across at all in comments. But I think someone was talking about not trusting Pittsburgh at home because they had lost like 3 of the last 4. And I said, well, Colorado's coming off a loss. Let's not trust them either because they lost Arizona. It's a little bit of sarcasm there, but Pittsburgh got the win last night, tighter than everyone thought. On the show yesterday, we were talking about Mitch Marner, and I think Andrew was talking about that Marner remains hot. He was referencing Marner's point scoring more so than the shot totals, because he didn't go over the shot totals, but he did continue to get points. So I think that's a little communication lost there. And then finally, Kurt, I love Kurt, his thing. He said the show with 2 people on, Andrew and I, we really complement each other, and there's no need for another guest. Kurt, that's a great comment. But with that said, let's bring in today's guest. Prez, how you doing?
No complaints, my brother. What's going on? So I had a winning night for my clients last night, but a losing night in NHL again. And, other than my 5% plays, man, if you watched Wager Talk yesterday, guys, I gave out the Buffalo Sabres at plus 170, the Edmonton Oilers at plus 115, both won. And again, I picked the wrong plays to put in on my client base. And it's unbelievable because, and I was saying this to Vivian, I am seeing hockey this year better than I've ever seen it in my life. I can't pick the right games to release. And I don't know what to do. It's been going on for months. I'm utterly baffled. So, yeah, make sure to check out Wager Talk today because the daily presidential address at the end, it's just free money I give out. Anyway, I want to change topics really quick because, I'm lucky enough to have a media outlet to vent in. And I want to make a comment about the Russian figure skater. She is 15 years old. The news all over the social media and everything is all about how she shouldn't skate. And fair enough, she shouldn't skate. And the vilification of this 15-year-old girl. I just want to say that the chances of this poor girl knowing what was put into her is zero. And I am heartbroken for this 15-year-old who was supposed to have the time of her life and now is seeing the world crumble in around her when for sure she did not put anything in her system. For sure it was adults that did it. And it is a perfect example of the fact that something is going on in that country because can you imagine the conversation between the doctor and the 15-year-old? Here, little 15-year-old, we're going to cheat for you. We're going to put this in, and scientifically it's this, and it's this. They just gave it to her. And I'm telling you, I am heartbroken for this kid. It's unbelievable. And no media outlet is talking about that a minor was forced to take drugs by somebody else and now is going to have her life ruined over it. Okay, that's all.
Prez, I don't have, honestly, I don't know the full story, but I have heard about that. And I will just jump in and just say one thing. To your point, it's tough because at her age, like you said, she has no idea what's going on. She wants to compete. She wants to be an athlete and live out her dream. And that's the unfortunate part, that somebody else took that away from her. That, like you said, do you think it was her choice of that type of stuff? No. She didn't make that decision. There was no communication there with that. So that's really tough. And it's,
that's stupid.
You hate hearing that in general.
Sorry, Andrew. Yeah. That blonde lady coach hugging her. That blonde lady knew drugs was going in her system. She didn't. Why the Olympic community and the other figure skaters should be rallying around this 15-year-old child who's about to have her life ruined because adults poisoned her. Anyway, I'm going to shut up. We got hockey to talk about.
And speaking of the Olympics, Team USA and Team Canada both eliminated. One last night and one this morning. So shaping up to be an interesting Olympic finals. I'll be tweeting out some stuff. We'll try and find some ways to make some money in the Olympics. But before we do that, let's make some money on the ice in the NHL tonight. Like I mentioned, it's a small slate. We're discussing every single game. The first game we will discuss, we have the Minnesota Wild and the Winnipeg Jets going head-to-head here. And we've seen an incredible amount of movement on this game here, guys. The current price now sits at Minnesota minus 135. At certain spots last night, we actually had Minnesota as minus 150 favorites here. Now currently see Winnipeg plus 115, totals at 6. And I will just say this, Carm, plain and simple for me, Winnipeg does not have the offense to compete and go goal for goal with the Minnesota Wild. I don't agree with the market move. I'll say thank you very much, and I'll swoop right in and take the much better odds than I could have gotten last night.
Yeah, Andrew, someone echoed your thoughts right now on Minnesota and Winnipeg the last time they met, and Winnipeg not being able to shut down this high-flying Minnesota team, and that person was me, and the final score was 2-0 Winnipeg in that game, and I had the over in that game. I'm going to double down. I'm telling you right now, sometimes it's a bad take. This could be another bad take, but again, I just don't see Winnipeg being able to shut this Minnesota team down twice in a row. 2-0. That's not a Minnesota type of game. Winnipeg seems to be zigzagging right now. I know that's not a handicapping method, but 7 straight games where they've either won or lost. They lost their last time out against Chicago. And that was, I believe, on Monday, where we discussed that I felt one of the 4 games was a landmine, and I just didn't know who it was. But Chicago, the Winnipeg game wasn't going to make my card because I thought Chicago was the type of team that could go in there and beat Winnipeg with a good goalie as well, too, and they did. But it still didn't make my card, so I'm not going to claim credit for it, even though it sounds like I am right now. I just think this Minnesota team is playing extremely well right now. I'm still not sold on Winnipeg. They're saying all the right things in the dressing room. They're saying all the right things to the media. That now is the time for them to win and string some wins together. They said that before the Dallas game. They said that before the Nashville game. What was the end result? They came home and they lost to Chicago in a game that they should have won at home against a team that is not going to make the playoffs and is playing out the string, but they didn't. With that said, you have Minnesota team now coming in who haven't forgotten that 2-0 loss. I like the total here. I'm going to go to the total here because I think the Minnesota line will go a little higher than the minus 135, Andrew. I think this could be a minus 140, 145 by game time. And that's not the price I want to lay, even though I think Minnesota is the right side here. So for me, it's the over 6. I'm doubling down on the total again. Prez?
Yeah, I'm with you, Carm. I like the over as well in tonight's action. The great thing for people listening to Puck Time right now is I will not be releasing an NHL play to my clients. So any play that I give out today on the show will win because I'm winning every single I do not release to my clients. So I like the over. Look, they've played each other 3 times this year, 6-5 in October, 7-1. And then, yes, a 2-0 game from with Winnipeg winning in the last game. But, man, this Minnesota team offensively is just a juggernaut. You go down and you look at the scores, 7-3. Then they put up a 0 against Winnipeg. Then a 5, a 3, an 8, a 4, a 5, a 3. I mean, this team cannot be stopped offensively. Winnipeg, they put up a 1 spot last game against Chicago, but before that, a 5, a 3. This team can score. I think we're going to see a 4-3 type of a hockey game. I wouldn't be surprised if this game goes to overtime. I think Winnipeg's going to play Minnesota tough. I don't love the spot here for Minnesota. I would prefer Winnipeg in this spot. But I'm with you on that over, Carm. Over 6 for me in the Minnesota-Winnipeg game.
All right, our next game is a really good one as well, guys. The Florida Panthers and the Carolina Hurricanes. Let's dive right into that one here tonight. Carolina minus 120 at home. Florida plus 100. Florida 32-10-5 on the season. Carolina 32-11-3 here. We've got both these teams up there in the top of the league for goals for per game. But I would definitely give the nod to the Carolina Hurricanes as far as the defensive stats go, and even the goaltending stats. And as we say, defense wins games, defense wins championships. And right now with the goaltending we're seeing from Carolina and the way they manage the puck in their own end, that's kind of why I would give them the edge in this game, despite the high-powered offense the Florida Panthers contain. I like the way Carolina's playing. I have them as 14-1 with my clients to win the Stanley Cup this year, and I think they have 3 lines that can score, but also 3 lines that can play defense as well. Florida can't win every game they play having to score 4 or 5 goals. Carolina can win high-scoring games or low-scoring games. They don't need to look at expected goal numbers to tell us that, hey, they should have scored 4 goals, should have scored 6 goals. To me, that's the Florida Panthers. I'm not saying the Panthers aren't a great team. Don't get me wrong. But when 2 teams like these teams match up, you got to give me the better defensive team. And Prez, I'll go with Carolina. What about you?
Yeah, I like Carolina here too in this spot, Andrew. Look, I got to tell everybody, there's absolutely no reason to bet this game. That's my opinion right off the bat. You have a situation where Florida is coming in off of a loss. If Florida was coming in off of a win, I would like Carolina more. Carolina's coming in off of a loss as well. They're playing at home. It's their first home game back from a fairly long road trip. That concerns me. I don't like playing teams on their first game back from a road trip. These two teams are likely the two best teams in hockey right now. You can add, the Leafs, the Avs. I mean, they're teams. Speaking of the Avs, I was on the over in the Avs game last night. 50 shots. Anyway, I digress. There's no reason to bet this hockey game, period. My lean is on Carolina. But, Andrew, I'm not going to make shit up. I'm going to pull a Dave Koken. I'm going to put my hands behind my head and show off the pit stains. I always have pit stains whenever I do this because I got all these lights shining in on me. I actually am a 72-year-old gray wrinkled man, and then I put all these lights on me, and I look like this.
Yeah, what time is hair and makeup in the morning, Prez?
Yeah. So I'm not touching this game, but my lean is on Carolina. Maybe Carm can be more helpful.
Well, Carm, Prez talked about the losses. What about Carolina's losses? They've actually had some real tough games lately, losing to Ottawa, losing to the Toronto. I mean, there's been some losses for them recently. They want to kind of pick up some momentum probably.
Yeah, first of all, the lights are doing a great job on you, Prez. You've gone from looking 72 to 71, so kudos to you and the lighting crew that you have there. Andrew, these are two playoff teams. We know it. They're going to be there, and they're both going to make deep runs in the playoffs. So it'll be exciting to watch. You look at the total here first off, and it's at 6.5. I wish it was at 6, but it's never going to be at 6. I would take the over. Both of the games have gone over the total. The second game was a lot more competitive than the first one. If you remember the first one, Carolina went into Florida, and Florida, I think, scored 4 in the first 10 minutes of that game to essentially put it out of reach. And then Carolina played well from that point onwards, but they dug themselves into a hole. The second game was an OT game. I would lean to Carolina here, but for a couple of different reasons. But it's not what my play will eventually be on this game. I'll lean to Carolina here because this is Florida's first game since the beginning of February, and we're now on the 16th. Their last game was, I think, on the 1st. We've seen some teams struggle. Their first game back off that long rest. You look at St. Louis struggled at home. They lost. You had Edmonton got on this road trip, got to play San Jose and the LA Kings last night, back-to-back games where both teams had not played in 12 plus days, and they beat San Jose and they beat the LA Kings yesterday. I gave both those games as show best bets. While I won't give the Florida as a show best bet here, I'm looking at the first period over, and I'll explain to you my theory here. It's not 1.5, it is 2. You can find the 1.5s, and they're about minus 160, minus 170. But if you watch Puck Time all year, you know I'm not going to play a minus 170 on a goal line like that. So I'm going to take the 2. It's plus money on the over. Florida is 16-4 their last 20 games to the over. To the over 1.5. Of those 16 games that they've gone over the 1.5, 8 of those 16 have gone over 2 as well too, and that's at plus money. You're not the books aren't making you lay juice on the over 2s in the first period. So at worst, you're pushing half of those 16 games that they've gone over the total the last 20, but you're making money overall with them. Carolina 12-8 their last 20, going over the 1.5. So the probable angle here is on Florida. It's in a game where it's a high total, and I expect to see some goals, even with 2 very good goalies in Bobrovsky and Anderson, who are both slated to start but not yet confirmed. I'm going to go over 2 for the first period as the play.
And it's just so awesome to be able to avoid those high prices, Carm. Sometimes it might be worth it to look for those, 1.5s at a decent price. But when you can get the 2, and you can look at the research like you have, and find out that a lot of the times those are still going over 2 anyway, then it's nice to get that value on the plus money with the over 2 in the first period. You check out the New Jersey Devils, that outstanding first period over they're on right now. They're also going over 2 as well. If you want to start getting on that alternative total as well as that number continues to climb up with the Devils, then you get a better price. You avoid laying that huge chalk. But speaking of chalk, let's jump into our next game and talk about the Anaheim Ducks and the Calgary Flames. We've got the Flames. Well, I can make a kind of a pun here and say they're red hot, but they really are here. I mean, they have won 7 straight games. They're minus 200 here. They're playing well defensively. They've got several guys that are just have the most confident they've had in so many years, including a guy like Johnny Gaudreau that kind of has struggled in some big games in the past. Tyler Toffoli escapes what the hell is going on in Montreal right now. He scores a goal in his first game with them. I was happy to see that for him. And this Anaheim team, plus 170, they haven't played in a couple days here. And when you look at some of the stats for them, some of these kind of popped off the sheet for me, guys. Anaheim has lost 8 straight games against Western Conference opponents. And if you look at how they've performed on rest, they are 5-16 in their last 21 games on 3 days or more of rest. This team hasn't played in more than 5 days. Calgary played last night here, guys, but I do not expect a good performance out of the Anaheim Ducks. What I do expect is a sloppy hockey game, and I expect over 5.5 goals to come through here, even though we've got a good goaltender and good defensive team with the Flames here. Carm, I'll start with you. Your thoughts here in this game. I'm on the over 5.5 in this one.
Yeah, listen, you know my thoughts on the Calgary Flames. I absolutely love the way they're playing right now. That pickup of Toffoli was a good one. They're not done yet. They're looking to add more players to that team, and they're playing extremely well. If you watched that game last night, it's the epitome of a team that is having fun out there. But that's what winning does. These guys are scoring goals. They're coming back. They're laughing on the bench. They're high-fiving. They're having a good time out there. That's what you want. That is the confidence in a team. You look at it. You know, they've won 7 straight at home, Andrew. And you look at the teams, and we talk about strength of schedule. Look at the teams that they've beaten at home: Florida, St. Louis, Vancouver, Vegas, Toronto, and the New York Islanders, and of course Columbus last night. But you look at that at those names on that list, and those are some very good teams. Those are playoff teams right now: Florida, St. Louis, Vancouver. I'm not sure Vancouver's there yet, but Vegas, Toronto definitely are. They're playing extremely well. To your point of Anaheim and the record against the West, the one caveat to all of that is they're actually very good against the Pacific. They're 7-3-3 against the Pacific this year. But I just, the way the Flames are playing right now, I just can't see. You know, Anaheim's coming in for the Alberta double. They'll play, I think, Edmonton. Well, they're going to play Edmonton next. Markstrom was given the night off yesterday, so you've got your number one goalie back in net tonight. No travel. Yes, it's a back-to-back, but there's no travel, and you're coming off what looked like a very easy win. They just got to keep that momentum going. It is going right now. They're now first in the Pacific, leapfrogging Vegas. That could change by the end of the night, of course, but this team is playing extremely well. I don't want to get in front of the Flames train right now. So give me the Calgary Flames. I'll probably tie him into one of these bets for a parlay, but I'll take Calgary in regulation time as well. And I do like your over. Prez?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm with both of you guys here. You know, interestingly enough, Calgary, who's won 7 games in a row, of those, their last 5 games, they covered the puck line: 6-2, 5-2, 5-2, 6-0, 4-2. I see no reason why you wouldn't take the puck line in this game either. I like the over. The over is probably the best bet in this game. You know, I was on the over last night for my clients. It was my one win out of my 1 and 2 night. This Calgary team can score, man, and it's really remarkable because not only has Calgary not been a scoring team a high-scoring team over the last few years. But Daryl Sutter doesn't coach high-scoring teams, and yet here we have a 6, a 5, a 5, a 6, a 4, a 4. Kudos to Daryl Sutter, man. Kudos to the fact that I guess he's keeping this team playing the way they want to play, as opposed to his boring-ass grinding, LA Kings 2-1 win. I'm not a believer in this Calgary team. I'm not going to bet them very often this year. I've been wrong. I know I'm wrong. I'm probably end up being wrong. But my bet on this game is over the total. And you got to remember, too, guys, there's a ton of speed on this Anaheim team as well. The only problem with this Anaheim team from a total perspective is really their inconsistency, where they'll put up a 3, then a 1, then a 2, then a 5, then a 3, then a 5, then a 5, then a 0, then another 0. I mean, they had 2 games in a row in their last 10 where they put up zeros twice, like in a row. I just don't know which team shows up, but man, there's so much speed on this team. And Calgary is, even though they are scoring a lot, I mean, look at the opponents' goals against Calgary. 2 from Columbus, 2 from the Islanders, which would be equivalent to 20 from a normal team. 2 from Toronto, 0 from Vegas. It's, that's what's keeping me from releasing that play, is that however, Calgary's going to get you their 4 goals, but can you count on the other team getting 2? I don't know.
Well, that's really what's been great about the Flames has been their defense and their goaltending, not just their offensive firepower. I think that's kind of going untalked about a little bit because their scoring touch has been there, like you said. I'm going to pat myself on the back for a second because I did a show with Prez when Carm was away, I think a few months ago, or just had the day off. And I actually gave out on the show the Ducks to miss the playoffs at -110. And pretty much since that day, it's been an absolute downward spiral for the Anaheim Ducks. And Prez talked about the youthfulness and the speed of the Ducks, and they certainly have that. But if those guys aren't contributing night in, night out, the team's not playing at its best. And, I'm not sure. I don't want to speak for these two guys, but for me, I always get people asking me prior to the season, what do you have for futures? What are your cup futures? What are your playoff futures? What are your division futures? I give people the same answer every single year. And what I tell people is that I always bet my futures in the season while the season is going on. I want to be able to see what these teams can do. I want to see the chemistry of the new rosters. I want to try and jump in and bet against some teams, bet on them at certain spots to make or miss the playoffs, bet on the cup futures in that way. And with some of these to make or miss the playoffs, those are so great. If you jump in around November or December, guys, you can get some teams that are probably playing a little bit over their heads. And I believe that's kind of what we had with the Anaheim Ducks when they were at the top of the division. And that didn't last too long. So I agree with you, though, Prez. Of course, I'm hoping Anaheim pulls their weight, as far as the total goes. I can't have Calgary doing it on their own. I have to hope that they'll get a few goals past Calgary. I'm going to throw our next game back at you, Prez. It's a big one here. The game of the night, potentially Western Conference final game with the Vegas Golden Knights hosting the Colorado Avalanche, +105 at home, -125 for the Avalanche on the road. Totals at 6.5 here. You and I both had the over in the Avs game yesterday. Expected goal numbers said they should have had about 4.2 goals. That's just unbelievable. I mean, usually with advanced analytics, Prez, you see maybe a 1.5 goal difference in expected goals versus what they actually scored. For us to have more than 3 goals expected compared to what we got is just ridiculous here. I look forward to this matchup. And obviously we have Jack Eichel making his debut for the Vegas Golden Knights. Oh, and how convenient. Mark Stone was just placed on LTIR, just like Kucherov was last year for the Tampa Bay Lightning. What are your thoughts here, Prez, on this big matchup?
Andrew, this is a tough one. I mean, there's so many reasons to stay off of this game. Firstly, I'm with you, man. What were there, 50 shots? 47 shots from Colorado. You know, on a really great goaltending night, a goalie at his best is stopping 1 out of 20 shots. At his best. The average goaltender, 1 out of 12, give or take. 47 shots last night. Well, kudos to Dallas, man. It was a tough game to watch. Dallas barely had any puck possession whatsoever. And, you know, here we have a situation like the Leaf game, and I was on the Leafs as a 5% play last on Monday night. You know, they lost the game, but they completely dominated. And I don't want to be Vegas right now. I think we're going to get a really, really strong game from Colorado. What fascinates me is that Vegas has not played a game in a week, and I don't understand it. I mean, February 9th was their last game. They lost 6-0 to Calgary. I don't know how to put that into the handicap. I'll just make this real quick. If I had to bet this game, and I don't, I would take Colorado there.
Carm, what are your thoughts here? Obviously, the rest has been a huge factor. We saw it with the Sharks. We saw it with the Kings. There's been all kinds of different examples of what rest can do to certain teams. Obviously, the Vegas Golden Knights are a different beast than those two teams I just mentioned. But rest is certainly a factor, and the quick ability to avenge a loss from last night and get back on the saddle is right here for the Avalanche. After 50 shots last night, they're looking forward to bouncing back, hopefully.
Yeah, no, I get the predicament Prez has with the rest. You know what I mean? Like, as we know, you know, it's supposed to be the Olympic break right now, and they're using these 2 to 3 weeks to fit in the games that were postponed. Vegas didn't have many of those games postponed, so it hasn't been an issue for them. It was for some Canadian teams. But you look at, you know, the ability for this Colorado team to bounce back. I mean, especially, you know, they're off a loss, as we said, you know, losing last night to Dallas. And I talked about, I didn't take it, but I talked about when teams play back-to-back, I'd like to take the team that lost the first game in the second. Colorado won in Dallas. I wasn't ready to take Dallas in Colorado, where the Avs very rarely lose, but it was Frank Kuz in net yesterday. And I did tweet out about a lot of backup goalies in goal last night. It's one thing that I think you have to keep an eye on sort of moving forward. But Colorado has been great at bouncing back. Their last 6 games off a regulation time loss, they have won next time out. But that just goes with this team is, you know, 72 points. They're top of the league right now, playing lights out hockey. You look at comfort, you know, 23-5 this year, 9-3-1 away, 2.61 goals against average, and he's 6-1 against Pacific. It's not Lehner and net, of course. Tonight it's Brassard. He's expected, but he's having a very good season as well. He's 9-3-2, 2.66 goals against average. You know, 4 of his 5 losses have come against East teams. He's done extremely well against the West. His only loss is an OT loss to Winnipeg. But I still like Colorado here. I get, you know, the Stone missing is a bigger issue than an Eichel debut. Believe it or not, Stone has to be in that lineup. And if he's not, it's not the same Vegas team. Give me Colorado here. I say Colorado bounces back off that loss yesterday with their number 1 in net. And it's a very short price.
Well, and I think, like you said, one thing about Mark Stone being out is not just his offensive presence, but what he does defensively as a forward. And we're not going to get that from Jack Eichel. But I'll say this, guys, I really, really do believe that Jack Eichel would not be playing tonight if he was not 1,000% ready to go. And there's some times in some scenarios where I look at a player returning or making their debut for a team, and I tell you guys not to look towards their props, not to look towards that team for a couple of games. I believe we'll see some goals in this one, and I think Jack Eichel might contribute a little bit here tonight into that game. So it should be a interesting one. Carm, I'm going to start with you for what you have up at WagerTalk, but I got to just give you credit because for all of you guys out there that hear me pumping the tires of Carm's soccer plays, I do bet them myself. Of course, after the show ends and I ask him what he has up at WagerTalk, I actually ask him what the play is. And Carm, we might have had one of the most sweat-free wins yesterday than I think we might ever have for a little while there in the soccer betting world. So I appreciate the winner. What's going on for you today up at the website?
Yeah, I think my clients were pretty happy with that result. Man City easily winning that game. They just kept scoring early on and just kept going. And as you know, I sort of it wasn't a wager talk play, but I recommended taking the under in the other game, PSG and Real Madrid, and I finished 1-0 with a 93rd minute goal. So I was pretty happy about that as well too, and a nice little parlay. 3 plays up in Champions League today. They go off at 3:00. I mentioned that deal that I have up on my page where you can get every single play in Champions League and Europa League right. These are the knockout stages, which is like a tournament, March Madness bracket style until the finals in May. You'll get every single play, including 5% plays. There is a 5% play loaded for tomorrow in Europa League. And if you buy that package, you'll get 7 days of NHL for free. So we're tying it back to NHL here. As far as my show best bet, I am going to go with that first period play I mentioned earlier in the the Carolina and Florida game. I'm going to go over to plus 117. These stats are, while I think Carolina is going to win this game, and I like Carolina to win this game, I think Florida dictates the pace, and we're going to see some goals in this game. So let's get some goals right out of the gate from the drop of the puck over to plus 117 as your show best bet. Let's see if we can make it 3 for 3 this week.
Awesome stuff. Florida, Carolina, first period over 2 this time at a nice plus price. Prez, we'll go to you for what you have up for your clients. Also a best bet for you as well. And Wager Talk today, I believe it's Adam Trigger and Steve Merrill today.
You got it, brother. Listen, I got a big night tonight, guys. I got a 5% play in college basketball. This is my first 5% play in college basketball in 2 years, Andrew. I mean, I got some incredible information late last night. My 5% plays are unbelievable. I won again on Monday with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm on a 5-1 and a 10-2 5% run. And Andrew, since December 2019, which is a long time ago, there has been no play that has won more across any expert at WagerTalk. No play. The winningest bet at WagerTalk for over 2 years has been my 5% plays. I have one tonight in college basketball, and I have a promo code. I'm going to give it out here, and I'm going to give it out on WagerTalk today. It is Prez15. That's Prez15. You get $15 off of my 5% play. Do not miss it, brother. Other than that, my best bet tonight is Winnipeg and Minnesota over the total of 6. It was a pleasure doing the show with you guys.
It's great to see you. Great to have you on the show, Prez, and best of luck with that 5% play. First one in 2 years. Guys, check that out, wagertalk.com. Check out Prez and Teddy on WagerTalk today as well. I also have a 5% play tonight, and it is on the ice, and I have hit 15 of my last 18 5% wagers, also 7 straight 5% winners. So these top plays, guys, that we're so selective with, they have been cash money for me right now. There's no doubt about it. I mean, right now I've been very selective with them. It's across all sports, college hoops, NFL, NHL. These 5% plays are hitting. I'm on a 14-6 NHL run, 10-2, 5% NHL run, and you can grab that tonight. I told you guys, I don't know why, but these small slates, I do better on these small slates. I found one spot I really, really do like for tonight in the NHL. I'm up over 80% bankroll increase in the NHL on the season. We'll try and build on that tonight here in this 4-game slate. My best bet, give me the Minnesota Wild on the money line. That price got lowered here all morning. We're seeing money coming in on Winnipeg. I am not buying it one bit. Give me the Wild to bounce back. They won't forget about that loss 2 weeks ago, like Carmine talked about. The Wild will bounce back against the Jets, minus 135. That's my best bet on Minnesota. We got Carmine. He's locking in with Florida, Carolina, first period over 2 at plus 117. And the Prez, Minnesota, Winnipeg, over the total of 6. On behalf of my co-hosts, Carmine Bianco and Lawrence Presman, I am Andrew McInnis, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
Deja vu? It may seem like it since we've made the same announcement 3 times in the last 3 months, with this being number 4, but we are lowering our prices again. First, our 30-day all-access went from $349 to $299. Next, the 7-day all-access pass went from $119 to just $99. And just a few weeks ago, despite our popular 3-day all-access pass, it went down to $59 from $69. Next up is the 90-day all-access pass, which is now officially dropped down to $749 from being $849, giving you 90 days of selections from your favorite handicapper for under $6 per week. Remember, purchase wager bucks can now be used the same as cash, including on our new lowered price, $3, $7, $30, and 90-day all-access packages, allowing you to save every day on every pick you buy.